Hi everybody, it's Kendrick from Providence Tarot, coming to you with your weeklies for the first week of July. Welcome to July. It's Cancer season. Mercury is stationed retrograde today, and today is also the new moon solar eclipse in Capricorn. Capricorn is talking about government. It's talking about rules, regulations, following the rules. It could even be what happens when you rebel against the rules, right? Right here we have Jupiter and Gemini, which is talking about bluff, right? So you could be bluffing yourself in a situation. You could be feeling like you might be fooling yourself, or someone else might be bluffing in a situation where they might be making bigger out of something, and you're able to sort of like interpret from this, right? You feel like they're offering more than they can actually provide, right? And also, I feel like some people are experiencing, a loss of time, or maybe feeling like a connection has been lost, right? Maybe feeling like, something has been sacrificed over time. Also, it could be, maybe you're learning some hard lessons about what it is to experience sacrifice, right? Or experience loss, right? How are you handling things? Right? Maybe something else needs to be tended to, right? What's going on with your stability and your foundations, okay? It's almost kind of like you guys are reminiscing about some past life that you may have had, right? And it's kind of like when you continue to focus on those things that are kind of like just a memory, right? Or it's kind of like you might be lost in the memory of something. And that's why, this card is saying lost. But Neptune, which rules Pisces, and this is Saturn in Pisces, okay? The lost card. Saturn in Pisces. Saturn is very restricting, okay? So you might be feeling like Saturn might be taking something away from you, Sometimes, some of us might. We might be experiencing, a surrendering of sorts. Due to Saturn and due to the eclipse, right? Because Saturn is opposing the sun and the moon right now, which are basically conjunct. Okay, that's what an eclipse is. An eclipse is a conjunction or an opposition. And with this Jupiter and Gemini, this could definitely have something to do with our president. Because he's a Gemini and he's also like a Sag moon. Or Sag rising, but it's Gemini and Sag for him. And last month we had a lot of energy in Gemini and Sag, right? But Mercury is about to go retrograde as well, and that is also a ruling planet of Mercury, which rules Gemini. Sorry, Mercury rules Gemini, right? Mercury is the ruling planet of Gemini and Virgo. But what I will say is that the last time that Mercury was retrograde, it was in Pisces, which this card here has, right? Saturn in Pisces. And I feel like that can just kind of attribute to what you might have felt like you were missing during the last retrograde, or what you felt like might have challenged you to adapt to a change that was imminent, because Saturn is imminent. Right, it's going to happen no matter what. It's coming no matter what. You know what I mean? You're going to experience loss. So you have to be able to allow yourself to appreciate loss in a way that you aren't you're not in denial. You know what I mean? Because some of you guys are probably in denial about something. Some of you are not. Some of us are not. Some of us are in denial about something. Right? You could be bluffing yourself in a situation that may involve a Gemini. Or it may involve someone who, might be a Sagittarius or a Pisces, okay? Could even be a Libra, right? Or, Taurus. I'm just pulling from the card here. But yes, those are some of the things that we are experiencing right now. The eclipse is talking about things being hidden that are going to come to light eventually. There's a reveal that comes after the new moon. And with this eclipse, it's really major because we have a lot of things going on in South America, right? And that's where the eclipse is going to be, right there, where it's going to be visible from there, right? And remember the last time we had an eclipse here, it went from like the Pacific Northwest down to like the Atlantic Southeast, okay? And that was Charlottesville and all of that. And, you know, Donald Trump, the very beginning of all of that, you know. And look at where we are now. And the next eclipse is happening in South America. What's going on there? South of the border. All of that stuff, you know. So there is something that we need to just really take a look at. We really need to be aware of other people's insecurities, right? Their safety, how we can nurture them, how we can foster, you know, the trauma, okay? You know, that these people are experiencing, because this trauma that they're experiencing is really going to affect them for life. Okay, just like the trauma that we experience, okay? And Pisces is a sign that definitely experiences trauma, emotional trauma, because of its willingness to open itself up, right? And surrender due to love. But when you do that, sometimes you have to learn the hard way. And that's what Saturn teaches us, or that's what Saturn does. It helps us to learn things, or makes us learn things the hard way, you know, until we get it. Yeah, so those are kind of like two different messages. Some people are bluffing themselves and they're in denial about something, and they're allowing themselves to continue to be in denial, right? And it's like you're making your own interpretation of what's happening up, right? What is the environment? What's actually going on in the environment? What is the function of what's happening? Is it functional or is it dysfunctional, right? Because Jupiter and Gemini could definitely talk about dysfunction, right? A lot of thoughts, right? Confusion, right? Also, you know, denial and that as well. But those are the main energies for everyone this week. You could be the person that's experiencing the loss, or you might know someone that's experiencing loss, or we could all be feeling at a loss. For what? For words, right? A loss of compassion, right? Because, you know, Pisces is compassion, right? Saturn sometimes doesn't really care about showing compassion. Mars is exalted there, okay? Saturn just wants you to know and get it, right? Understood? You know, and that's very different from this Gemini energy and Gemini energy, because Gemini is kind of like just making quick connection. It's very fast, and it's, you know, it's sometimes, you know, not very clear. Sometimes it's very clear. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's all over the place. Sometimes, you know, by accident things happen, you know, the right way. So that's what some of you might be thinking, that like serendipity is going to happen, or, you know, there's going to be some moment where things just kind of like fall into place, but you could be fooling yourself about something just falling into place. Okay, so now we're going to move on to all of the rest of the signs, the 12 signs, okay? Aries, what's your card this week from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun? Eccentricity, Saturn in Aquarius. So this could be talking about, you know, how you celebrate the differences that you hold, right? That live inside of you. It is also creativity, but it's creativity by being unconventional and doing different things. This is also talking about friends. Maybe you're meeting new groups of friends. Maybe these new groups of friends are teaching you things, you know, or there might be opening your eyes to new ways of seeing things, because Aquarius is talking about perspective and Saturn is talking about time and learning things over time, right? Useful things that really do matter. Saturn is talking about building building things, it's also talking about governing your life. So you might be allowing yourself to experience some eccentricities so that your life becomes more enriched, because there are so many different types of people, places, and things, and we all need to be celebrated, okay, for what we bring to the table. Also, this is talking about a sense of balance through celebrating eccentricities and through seeing that there is no normal. You know what I mean? This card, that's what Saturn also, rules Aquarius. Okay, look at this. This is saying there is no normal, right? We're all very different and we should be celebrated for our differences, okay? And that's something that we need to be aware of as well, because Aries is talking about the awareness of things, and it's talking about how you assert yourself when you become aware of things. But then it's also impulsiveness. Some of you could be impulsively getting a tattoo, right? It's turn up season. So some of you guys could be getting tattoos. Some of you might already have tattoos. Some of you might be wanting to add a tattoo to what you already have. You know what I mean? It's that type of thing as well. It's friends too. Friendships are important to you, and just getting out there and being open to the world and how it's going to teach you things, Taurus, let's see what your card is this week from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Risk. Okay, this is Saturn and Aries. We keep getting a lot of Saturns, okay? And Saturn and Pisces came up, as the general energies for everyone, right? And the pop-out card was Jupiter in Gemini. Anyway, Saturn and Aries. Okay, Saturn is actually exalted in Libra. So the fact that it's in Aries here is talking about a debilitation, right? The fall, right? It's in its fall. Because Aries does take risks, and sometimes those risks that you are taking, Taurus, might not be the right ones. You know what I mean? Or you just have to be aware, right? You have to be more aware, like an Aries would be when you are taking risks, right? Because, you might run into some problems, so you have to know when to respond and how to respond to things and how to act quickly. You know what I mean? Saturn is slow and Aries is fast. So if you're going to be taking a risk, you're going to have to need to act accordingly, right? Saturn is talking about learning things through time and through effort and through energy, right? And Saturn is also talking about, there being a reward at the end of something, at the end of going through something. So you might be taking this risk because you know that there's an award or a reward waiting for you. You know what I mean? You're ready to take on the big energy, the big dogs or whatnot. I feel like you're coming in passionately and enthusiastic, and I feel like you are aware of the authoritative sense that it's going to have to take for you to really put yourself out there. So you are putting yourself out there. I feel like you do understand the risk factor, okay? And you are just going to really step up front and face this without any, with courage, okay? Gemini. So your card came up, Jupiter in Gemini, okay, here. We'll just pull off. Let's see what your card is from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun this week. Lust. Venus in Aries. Okay, so Venus rules Libra. So now it's sort of like debilitated in Aries, right? So it's talking about, you may not be thinking about fairness or anything right now, Gemini. You might just be thinking about, like what you want. Venus is love, and it's also relationships and pleasures, right? Sensuality. And Aries is impulse. So your pleasure, your desire, right? Your yearning for sensual pleasure might be prompting you to act impulsively, right? I feel like maybe there's a lot of passion going on right now. There's a lot of tongue action. Look at this lizard here. It's very reptilian, right? So it is kind of primal, right? Instead of being that naive, gentle, I don't know what's going on. You know exactly what's going on here, Gemini, and you're going to experience a pleasure explosion of some sorts. There's some emotions here, but they are far off in the distance. You know what I mean? So you may not be as emotionally attached. This could just be sex for some of you guys. And it really is because you have an attraction to someone, because Venus is talking about attraction and Aries is talking about prompting someone, getting someone's attention. So you could be using your sexual prowess, right? And your sultriness to get someone's attention, right? And you might be doing it in a gentle and a soft way that could be, really tempting this person, right? So this is also temptation. You could be tempting someone through your lust. Cancer. Okay, that was a shell. You probably didn't see it because that light was shining. Okay, Cancer. This is your card from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Ooh, what, Cancer? Mercury in Cancer. And that's where he about to be again. Okay? So this is perfect for you, honey. I'm living. You might get a longer one because it's your season, right? You might get like 5 minutes left. Mercury is the planet of information, connections, right? Networking, getting out there and experiencing things that inspire you and get you to understand your environment and what's going on in your environment. So for you, this could be you really focusing, because Mercury is focus as well, on your home environment, on how you nurture that home environment, on what you put into it, because what you put into it is what you get out of it, right? Okay? Also Cancer is talking about being able to, create a safe place for feelings, to be able to, experience the flow, the constant flow of the emotions, and be able to really connect to what they're telling you. You know what I mean? It is really a part of yourself that should be very much appreciated and very much valued, because it's that part of you that can't be touched by anything externally. Even when you allow yourself to be easily influenced, or because you are so easily influenced or impacted, why don't we say that? You're so easily impacted by the external energies and forces, right? That you have to kind of like allow yourself to really trust that person, that energy that's inside of you, the spirit, right? The soul, okay? Because that's not really going to lie to you, right? Unless it's a dark soul, okay? And there might be something else going on, all right? But listen to your intuition. Allow it to guide you, right? Because, our feelings are not, necessarily negative or bad or good or bad, right? Good, bad. They might make you feel a certain kind of way, which means that, that warrants you to respond, right? In a way that is going to, process those emotions so that you can utilize them in the best way, right? Meaning like your emotions are a tool to help navigate you through life, so you can decipher things, so you can weigh things out, so you can really truly understand, the truths and the non-truths, the realities and the unrealistic things. Because sometimes your intuition might just be a little bit so open and so overactive, right? Because Mercury is overactive. It's hyper, right? It's going all over the place. You know what I mean? And this could be your emotions going all over the place because you intuitively feel something, Cancer. It's your season. It's a 4 as well. Also, the 4s are talking about stability, right? Stability, is going to, security is going to be followed by stability. So we're talking about stability, we're talking about security, and you're being inspired, to know what it's going to take for you to get to that place of stability and feeling more secure. Archangel Gabriel is here. I think that Madiel is here. I can't really read the others, but Cancer is, definitely affected by the moon because it's your ruling body, okay? Astrological body, if you will, because some people wouldn't call it a planet because it's a moon. July is the 7th month, and Cancer also squares Libra. So, the 7 is very, important in terms of like when you're talking about tarot, these are oracle cards, but when you're talking about tarot, Cancer is number 7, the Chariot, right? So it has a connection with the 7th house, which is Libra, okay? So it's talking about being affected, reacting to things, understanding something before it actually happens, being able to read into other people's feelings, being able to interpret other people's feelings. Also, this eclipse that's happening, the new moon solar eclipse that's happening in Cancer is talking about a clean slate, right? I feel like you are understanding that something is going to be renewed past this point, post the eclipse. I'm getting kind of warm. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to be revealed to you post the eclipse. Things are going to be happening. You're going to be feeling a lot of prompting from the universe. And just from your spirit guides, you know what I mean? And from the soul that lives within you. A lot of communicative activity from your inner soul. Listen to it, Cancer, as you do. All right, you could also even be like helping people with your intuitive insight, okay? Giving advice. Leo. Okay, Leo. Do I have my lighter? I didn't even burn my mugwort. Here we go. Leo, this is going to be your reading for the first week of July from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Okay? Your card is Drama, darling. And this is Mercury in Leo, which is where he is right now, going station retrograde, honey. This is talking about, talk, communication, over communication, right? Talking too much. You might be experiencing someone that is talking too much. You might be talking too much or divulging too much information, right? You have to withhold some information because if you speak about everything, then you might make a misstep on something, right? You can't just be exposing all of the thoughts and the communications and the goings on, right? Hold on, I'm sorry. At some point it gets good, like you can see it. Look, here we go. There we go. You see that? I have to protect my cards from the flame. So there we go, drama. I'm sorry, you guys. Anyway, Leo, it's saying that, like, don't involve yourself in the drama of other people. And also, you probably should understand and know when to speak about other people's engagements or whatever it is that they're going through. Maybe you are experiencing some drama and you need to communicate about the drama. Maybe it was some drama that was happening that made you feel like you needed to, distract yourself from the drama, right? Because Mercury is talking about distractions, and Leo is talking about, creativity. It's also talking about the heart and passions, right? So you could be communicating something passionately that is going to stir up some drama, right? And this is kind of like, also multiplicity as well, because Mercury is talking about many different possibilities happening, and Leo is talking about the energy just being constant, right? So this is like maybe constant drama that might have been happening in a scenario, or it could just be, friends, drama amongst friends, because Leo is talking about friends. It's also talking about family and children. So there could be drama that people are acting like children, or maybe people were acting like children, and that's why, the drama started, or what caused the drama. Understand that there is a level of unity that has to be met here amongst friends or amongst family, so that you can strengthen the bond that this drama was trying to weaken. Or just call somebody out on the drama, or just stop talking too much. Some of you, you know what I mean? You don't have to speak on what you feel or think everybody else is doing. Mercury and Leo. Wendy Williams has Mercury and Leo natally. Just take that. All right, Leo. Thanks. Virgo. What's your card this week from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun? Ooh, that smoke in my eye. Health. Sun in Virgo. Wow. Oh, come on, sun. Don't get in my way. Look at that, Virgo. Sorry. There we go. The sun is so bright. I'm sorry, you guys. Overdoing it, right? So, the health. This is the 6th house, and this is talking about daily routines, right? Staying disciplined, right? Following your plans and following the structures that you have set in place for yourself to experience success, right? On a fundamental and practical level. Virgo is a very practical sign. You would know you are a Virgo, and you're my most valued. I'm going to be doing your reading next, by the way. The sun is talking about the spirit, and it's talking about the heart, and it's talking about the soul. And heart health is very important as well. Cardio, you know what I mean? Getting the heart beating, getting the blood pumping, sending oxygen to those, sending oxygen through the bloodstream, right? What am I saying? But yes, Virgo is talking about implementing, right? Implementation, discrimination, being able to follow, right? The rules that you've set in place. Also self-care is very important because self-care really shows you in your best light. Showering, brushing your teeth, eating the right food, getting your hair cut, combing your hair, paying your bills, going to work. Work and health is very important to Virgo energy. So I feel like at this point, you guys really need to be thinking about your health a little bit more. You need to be drinking water, right? You need to be around water too because it gets hot, right? You need to be thinking about the different ways that, you take care of yourself in the summer, right? Because it's the sun, and the sun is a summer, energy. And Virgo is also summer energy. It's the end of summer. And this could also be talking about, your season coming up, right? You need to be healthy now. Start thinking about it now. Don't wait until your season comes, right? Health also has to do with the people that you put yourself around and the things that you do with the people that you put yourself around. The sun is also, aggression in a way, and it is also assertion. So you need to really assert yourself to really think about those, really genuine ways of treating yourself and your body. Get into, practicing healthy habits, of course. And really just kind of, it's not going to happen overnight. You just have to continue to stay disciplined, and then you will find motivation there. It will be easier to stay motivated once you discipline yourself to follow those guidelines that you've set in place. And you're going to feel very good in your spirit once you start seeing yourself achieve things and you start seeing, the rewards and the results, because Virgo is talking about results, right? The results from taking care of yourself and being healthy are some of the best ones that you can experience in life, because it's going to help your confidence, the sun, right? It's going to help your confidence. Other people are going to respond to you differently, react to you differently, you know what I mean? And you're going to really be able to show yourself in your best light, and that's what Virgo wants to do. So really think about your health, Virgo, this week and moving forward through to your season, because the time is now, and it's not just about like thinking about it for 1 week or 2 weeks or going on a diet for 2 weeks. It's about really committing yourself, right? Committing yourself. The sun is ruled by Leo, and Leo is the 5th house. Commitment. Fives are talking about commitments, right? So definitely be committed to practicing very safe, effective, healthy habits, okay? Libra, I am ready to see what our card is. Right, he ready, but he drinking coffee. of water. All right, Libra, here we go. Mercury and Sagittarius. You going somewhere, Libra? What you traveling to? You talking about philosophy? What you telling people? You helping people learn stuff? Right? Are you expanding people's consciousness? Are you helping expanding your mind? Are you expanding your consciousness? Right? Are you expanding your awareness of, worldly events and what's going on in the world? Right? Because could these discoveries of what's going on in the world be prompting you to change your philosophies about life and your understandings? How are you now adapting to this new information, and where is it taking you? Where is it leading you? Let me show you the card. Right? Discovery. Anyway, discovery is talking about, expanding yourself and realizing that, your world, the one that you've been living in, isn't just what's going on. You know what I mean? I feel like you guys have been like, just informing yourself on events that are happening in the world. You might be learning some new things, right? And you might be taking those things that you've learned and the information that you have now and just expanding on that. You could be elevating yourself because, Mercury is talking about receiving information and making connections, and that could be elevating. And Sagittarius is also talking about elevating yourself by going off and, just experiencing growth. The ninth house does have to do with learning and experiencing different cultures, right? You might be discovering that you might like something or that you might enjoy something that you haven't enjoyed before, because these are both mutable energies. So it's talking about, adaptations and concepts that change and ways of doing things, you know what I mean? And being able to go from here and there and everywhere. So your world might be opening up for you because, this is the ninth house, and it's Jupiter, and a lot of times I feel like I think esoterically Sagittarius is ruled by the Earth. No, don't quote me on that. I have to look that up. But yes, so this is talking about you might be traveling, you might be going somewhere, you might have your eye on a goal too. You know what I mean? You might be inspired to do something, and it's very sharp intent. Okay, because this is definitely sharp intent. You know what I mean? Mercury in hold on one second. Let me see. Does that make it better? Not really. It's still very light, you guys. Yeah, so this could be like you just kind of like going somewhere, more vacation. Yeah. All right, I'm seeing palm trees and things like that in warm weather. Some of you could be going to New Orleans. Some of you could be, going off to a very far off land, for something. All right, Scorpio. Let's see what your card is from the Oracle of the Radiant Sign. This glare, honey. Venus and Scorpio secrets. Don't you know about those? Okay, so, Venus is relationships and its pleasures and its sensuality. And Scorpio is sexuality and its drive and its action, right? It's primitive energy, primal energy. There could be some secrets within a relationship. There could be more than one sexual partner. The eights are also talking about communication, right? Because they're, eights are related to Mercury in a sense. This is like a sphinx and a ram here, and then it's surrounded by knots and things like that. So let me just give you a good look at it, see if I can freak. My God. I can't. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to stop trying to show you guys the cards right now because it's just, I can't. But it really is talking about when Venus is in Scorpio, it talks about, toxicity within relationships, right? The sexual drive is so intense, right? And the yearning for that, that it might be like, someone satisfying their sexual desires might be, there might be a secret around that, right? Or how someone actually expresses themselves sexually. Okay, somebody could be having some like weird thing that they like. The knots that talks about tension, because knots create tension, and then you might be feeling like stuck in a relationship that you feel like is maybe toxic. This also talks about being emotionally reactive to a situation that you feel like might be unfair. These secrets are unfair. You know what I mean? When people make a choice, right, to keep information away from you or to do secret acts, right, that don't involve you, because Venus is relationships, and that's talking about contracts and bonds and fairness and understanding, right, and sharing things. Somebody may not be sharing something, and it's creating some discomfort and some dysfunction within a scenario. Somebody might not even be talking about the way they feel about something that's happening in a relationship. Um, there's some power issues and some control issues, right? Somebody might just really have, you know, um, it's like somebody wants something and they're not saying it, right? Somebody probably wants to have more sex and they're not saying that. Someone probably wants to have sex with other people and they're not saying that. Someone probably has had sex with someone else and they're not saying that. Um, yes, Scorpio. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yeah. Sagittarius. I didn't think that the camera was actually recording. That's why I was like, okay, Sagittarius, this is your reading for the first week of July, from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter is growth, excitement, overwhelming, right? Cancer is intuitive, feeling. So you might have an overwhelming feeling about something, okay, Sagittarius. And this card is called speculation. So the overwhelming awareness or the overwhelming sense that you have in regards to a situation that you might have been prompted to involve yourself in, or maybe it was the action of someone else that made you become aware or made you become involved or made you become involved in the way of becoming, speculative. Is that a word? What am I saying? Um, the speculation is surrounded by, just the way that you've been led to feel by someone's actions and what they're doing and what you're seeing. You're like seeing someone do something. You're seeing someone sort of get out of control, or you're seeing someone present themselves in a big way, and you feel like there's more to the story, or maybe there's a lot surrounding a situation or a person, right? And you feel like there's just a lot of questions, right? Because speculation does bring questions. Ooh, the sun isn't really shining that much right now, so maybe I can really give you. See, it's an eye in the center with a crab, and there are two people there as well. Speculation. Um, yeah, you could really be thinking about something. You could be really asserting yourself. You could be really going inward and really trying to like go over all of the different ways that you might have been affected by something. And that's why you're like, okay, wait, maybe not. Maybe this doesn't feel as safe, right? Maybe you're not feeling as secure. You know what I mean? And now it's kind of like, and it's not like you feel threatened. It's just like you don't feel secure in your belief or in your expectation for what this person is presenting, You know what I mean? Not even your expectation, because it's not even like you have an expectation, but it's kind of like, when someone kind of like, you meet someone for the first time, and like they act bigger than it seems like they really are. You know what I mean? That type of thing. Or you might just have a lot of intuitive connections that have led you to the speculation. So it's like one thing after the other thing after the other thing after the other thing. Because, Jupiter has to also do with learning, right? So you've learned based on like the intuitive insight that you've allowed yourself to connect with, right? Let me see if I can get a good look at this. You see that? It's like the eye has made all of these different connections. It's almost like a web, right? Of understanding and connections and intuitive connections. And you're like, okay, so the story doesn't add up, right? Because Jupiter is talking about things adding up, right? Ooh. And you're kind of like, well, actually, I feel like, Cancer, I feel like this. And I think you might be right, Sagittarius. Capricorn, this is your card from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun for the first week of July. Egotism, Mars in Leo. Okay, so this could be talking about, this is the fifth house, so this could be talking about work. It could also be talking about commitments. It could be talking about relationships with, friends and family. And it could also be talking about, connections that you have in, you know, relationships that you've committed yourself to, or it's like a spiritual commitment that you have to something. It could be like that as well. You know what I mean? Because the Leo is ruled by the sun. Mars is the ruling planet of Aries, which the sun is exalted in Aries. So Mars does like being in Leo. But the thing about that Leo energy is that it's always, emitting energy. So it's constant. So when Mars comes in and puts force and more energy into that, it kind of like thrusts it forward. It's almost like in your face. It's too in your face. So Capricorn, someone could be too in your face about something. You might even be. This could even be you because it's Mars, and Mars is really like the self, right? So you could be inflating yourself. It's not Jupiter, so not so much inflation, but you could be broadening, right? You could be putting yourself out there in a way that might be putting people off just a little bit. So you might want to hold back on, slapping people in the face with your authority, or your, just your willingness to always like be first or be in control, right? Because Mars is kind of like, the one that's in control because he's first, right? Oh, now I'm here. I showed up first. Let me get a sense of what I can make happen. It's about me, right? And then Leo was like, actually, you know what I mean? So this energy is kind of like together. It's a little bit overwhelming for people. So maybe you might need to, I'm not saying water yourself down or dilute yourself. I'm just saying maybe you should be a little bit more selective about how you present yourself. You know what I mean? Because it is about presentation with the sun. Okay, and also with Mars, because Mars is introduction, right? How you introduce yourself, first impressions, right? Because Mars and Aries does rule first impressions. Okay, Leo, yeah, sure, and Libra kind of has that as well, but this is talking about a first impression. So don't let your ego get the best of you, and don't let your ego be 5 feet in front of you when you're making a first impression. You know what I mean? Be smart about the way you present yourself so other people aren't put off by your cockiness or your pompousness, right? You can definitely allow yourself to be seen in the light that you shine brightest in without having to make people turn away. Aquarius. This is your card from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun for the first week of July. Okay, you got Jupiter and Taurus, and this is talking about status. So, this could be the growth of status. Maybe your status could be improving, or it could be getting bigger or changing, right? This could also talk about, your status not changing, because Taurus is fixed, and that's kind of like resting energy. This could be you being a little bit too comfortable, right? And your status not changing because of that. Or this could be you gaining, leveling up, right? Because Jupiter is always talking about adding, making more, getting bigger, right? Providing extra. So, you might have extra money because Taurus rules the second house of earned income, right? So you might be asking for a raise, Aquarius. You might be getting a raise, or you might be making more money than you made before on a project, or just with a job or a career, right? In your profession. And this could be making you feel like an up and there's like an uptake, right? In your status. Your status is growing, it's getting bigger. I feel like the recognition, you might be receiving recognition for your work that you've done, and you feel like, you've elevated your status in that way. You might be given a new title, because Taurus does talk about the status quo. And, and sometimes when we get titles and when we earn things, your status might be changing. Aquarius, if you were going to school and now you've earned something, right? That could also be it. Maybe you have you have like some kind of degree that you can add to your name. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing. Jupiter's also talking about luck, and things just kind of like happening quickly. So this change of status might be happening quickly. Status could be in the place that you live, because Taurus does talk about controlled environments, just as, the Empress would, or, Cancer would. This is talking about security. So there is security within this change of status, right? Or you could be seeing yourself experience security if you follow the status quo, whatever that means for some of you guys. The twos are also talking about, duality and choices, and understanding that, your choices affect other people, and other people's choices affect you. So sometimes if you elevate your status, then you're not as affected by the choices that other people might be making on your behalf, right? That type of thing too. I'm just going to go ahead and let it be that, Aquarius. Good for you. It's a fixed card, so it's kind of like, a sister energy of yours. Okay. Good luck with that status improvement, that status change. Okay, Pisces. So this is going to be your card for the first week of July from the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Sun in Taurus. Acquisition. Okay, Pisces. So Taurus is your third house, right? And that is talking about communication. It's also talking about the, capabilities and things happening. It's your inspiration. It's how you communicate. It's how you understand things, and it's how you also express yourself through just taking advantage of the opportunities to express yourself. I don't know where I got that from. Uh, I'm just gonna keep talking. But the Sun in Taurus, that is the second house, and that is talking about earned income. So Pisces, you could be thinking about how you're going to acquire more money, how you're going to acquire more work, or how you're going to add to. You know what I mean? Because the acquisition means to acquire, which means to add to, right? Make a part of, right? What are you taking, right? What are you bringing in? You might even need to be feeling like you are gaining something. You want to gain something that makes you feel like you're winning and that you are able to support yourself, right? I feel like this is, security. You're becoming more aware of your security, right? And what you need to do to provide yourself with more stability and more security. Taurus is also talking about, commitments and committed relationships. So you guys might be finding yourself in a relationship. You might be finding yourself wanting to commit to something. You might be aware that you want to be committed to something, or maybe, the sun is shining light on, your home life, your career, what you're able to put into the home, right? Fixed energy, the Taurus fixed earth is talking about feeling settled and feeling comfortable within your environment. Do you feel secure within that environment as well? This could also be talking about needing to acquire a good sense of like partnership and what that means. Hanging out with friends, that's partnership. Also, animals, right? That's partnership. Also, going out and like, just experiencing positive, you know, positive engagement with friends, right? Because Taurus does rule friendship. It talks about friends, right? And institutions and cliques and things like that. So you might be experiencing energy around this area of committed relationships and friendships and things like that. Beautiful things. The Sun in Taurus really does experience and values the pleasures in life. You know what I mean? Things that taste good, things that look good, things that sound good. You could be going, to just experience like theater. You could be going out and just, going to like museums and things like that. Museums are very much Taurus energy, right? So that's very much Hierophant energy. Like going to an institution to experience and admire beauty and history. And a lot of that beauty has to do with religion, which is also an institution, which is, something that Taurus also rules and believes in. Okay, it's like those constant structures that allow you to experience life in a wholesome and practical way that make you feel like you are getting what everyone deserves to get out of life, right? Status quo stuff. So you could be thinking about that, how you can have something the way you want it, right? So it's talk. You are aware of wanting to have something the way you want it. You know what I mean? Taurus wants things to be done the way that it's used to, in the way that it wants things to be done. It wants to become accustomed to things, right? It likes to become accustomed to things. So maybe you are aware of how you become accustomed to something, and maybe you're being taken out of that comfort zone, because Taurus does kind of rule comfort zones, and maybe maybe you don't have that thing that you were accustomed to anymore, and it's just a change. Okay. Wow, these messages, they were longer than normal, and I'm just going to have to put them all on IGTV, and they're going to be strung together on YouTube as a reading. If you want to go through first house, second house, third house, fourth house, you can do that, okay? I love you guys. Take advantage of the 20 for 20 minutes for $20 special that I'm doing, email providencetarotkendrick@gmail.com if you'd like to do that. Definitely follow me on Instagram, right? Providence Tarot. I'm also NYC Kendrick NYC, and the Tongue Pop. Yes, I also read at Shanti Bookshop and Crystal Gallery on Sundays from 12 to 5. This Sunday I took the Sunday off because it was Pride. I didn't even go anywhere or do anything. I was in my house sleeping, trying to recuperate from a long week of, just teaching, doing readings. It can be pretty exhausting, but that's why, having a comfortable environment and, taking care of yourself is always very important, right? That's why that Sun in Virgo came up. If you always take care of yourself, then when all of the things change around you in life, then you'll be strong enough to handle them because you're not trying to take care of the basics. So, everybody, take care of the basics. Stop going crazy over a loss that you experience. You were going to experience it anyway, right? And that's not just talking about death. I'm talking about things that you had to sacrifice, okay? Or things that you made, you know, that you sacrificed and you didn't realize until later that it was a sacrifice. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm still on Pisces. Maybe that was your message, darling. Okay.